misunderstood my apology. So I'm all in favor of Indian speaking their native language. Unfortunately, I'll be unfortunately condemned to look for my words all the time. So it'll be more fluent like this. Sorry. Many of you are too young to remember, but Murray Manohar Joshi mainly made the news by his journey to Srinagar in the middle of all the terrorism there, to hoist the flag, as a sign of patriotism, belonging to the nation. So that was, somebody had to do that. And so it would be good for Kashmir to remain in India rather than the fatal mistake of joining Pakistan. Back then it was already obvious, but if you see the evolution today of India and Pakistan, I'm sure that the Muslim Kashmiris too are happy that they are in India after all. So finally, India is taking off after a very long stagnation. You have heard by now probably that during the British period, India's economy as a share of the world economy steeply declined. That what was good for like 20% of the world economy was reduced to 2%. What you may not have heard is that this decline continued and even got worse after independence, because Nehru's and Indira's socialist policies really went against the natural growth that would have taken place if the Indian people were left to their own devices. And you can see it very clearly by the enormous economic success that Indians had outside of India. You see, left to their own devices, their own natural energy, Indians were very successful in East Africa, to the extent even that the other population groups were jealous and wanted them out in South Africa, in England, and most of all now for all to see in America. So that's the natural potential of the Indian people. And so fortunately, thanks to Narasimha Rao, in 1991, there was a radical liberalization of the Indian economy, which meant that from then on, Indians could undertake a lot more and develop according to their own insights, and these were often far more realistic and far more far-sighted than anything any government could come up with. So Indians have succeeded. Indeed, in the last few election campaigns, it was interesting to see how some parties claimed the merit of all the progress that India has made, and to an extent this is justified, to an extent not, simply because it is the private sector, it is the Indians themselves that have taken lots of initiatives, and the enormous modernization that any foreigner who regularly comes to India can see happening. You see, that is the merit of Indians themselves, more than of any government. So there I have to congratulate you all on this success. The story of Kashmir, of course, is not complete. without mentioning the religious conflict. I hope that tomorrow in my valedictory I have more time to go into that. But at any rate, there too you see progress, and this is the merit of the government. First of all, there is the palpable decline in terrorism. It's not that at all. Unfortunately, still life was fairly dangerous in India, like 20 years ago. It is no longer the case. An insider of the security apparatus has informed me what the problem was before the presently ruling party came to power, namely that often the police nowadays, because of all the new techniques available to them, is fairly good at intercepting terrorist projects, at knowing to prevent, coming on their trail and knowing about them and knowing how to prevent them. Yet this was often sabotaged by politicians who were in league with the Breaking India forces. And so one thing that the presently ruling party has to get credit for is that this is rarely the case anymore. You see, the police is given a free hand, is no longer sabotaged, and can very effectively deal with threats of terrorism. The second aspect of this religious problem in Kashmir and ultimately all over India has to do with the recognition, first of all, simply the recognition of the religious problem. And so very many politicians, very many people in the media, very many citizens prefer to look the other way when that issue is raised. Now there is very little we can do except, first of all, keep on, saying the truth about this. You see, there are certain religious motives that really encourage terrorism or encourage other forms of separatism. Again, there is a certain decline in this, but this force is still with us, and you can, I'm afraid, count on every new generation to find new ways of spreading this religious conflict material. So there, it remains very important to correct politicians whenever they try to ignore this side of the problem. And indeed, that's what us intellectuals, should see as their prime duty. Okay, I very much thank Mr. Muni Monohartoti, whom I met long ago in Antwerp, Belgium. So he has his merits in this particular political conundrum. And I'm confident that some among you are going to contribute to the ultimate and definitive solution of the Kashmir issue. Thank you.